Okay. Now, you might ask yourself the question, or goalkeepers might be saying to themselves, well, why would I use a punt over a drop kick or vice versa? What dictates when I use one or the other? A good question, and there are a couple reasons for this. The first thing, a lot of it will depend on the quality of your surface. Now, unless you play at a very high level, or you have access to a very smooth surface, whether it be a synthetic surface, a fake grass, like a turf, or you just happen to be lucky enough to play on a surface that's natural, but it's completely flat, it's completely grass, everything's nice and smooth, all right? Surfaces like that, drop kicks, no problem, all right? Another element is going to be your wind. Now, let's say you're facing into a strong wind, all right? Punts have a tendency to get slightly higher, all right, than a drop kick. Now, if your strong wind is coming into your face, and a punt has a tendency to get higher into the sky, it's probably going to get caught in that wind. And you'll see balls that come out, and then they end up going get caught by the wind. They end up going straight up, and they end up coming straight back down. Sometimes they'll end up going straight up and actually come back to you. All right. In moments like that, a drop kick is probably going to be better because the trajectory of the strike tends to be flatter. It doesn't tend to get so high up into the sky. It tends to be a little flatter, which is good. And even with your punting, the idea when you're punting is not to hit it a million miles high. All right? It looks great for the crowd, but the problem is it gives the opposing team too much time to get behind the ball, get set, get tight, get organized before the ball comes out of the sky. So even when you're punting, you'd like to find a little bit of a flatter trajectory. All right? It probably won't be quite as flat as a drop kick, but you still want a little bit flat. So if wind's coming into your face, that might be an ideal time to use a drop kick over a punt. If you play on bumpy surfaces, all right, where the quality, you can't guarantee the quality of the bounce coming up off the ground, that might be a better time to use a punt as opposed to a drop kick. Now I look at this surface, it's very thick, all right, it's flat, but the grass is very thick and heavy. So on a surface like this, because the grass is so thick, there's not a whole lot of return energy off the ground when it bounces up, all right? If the grass tends to be a little shorter, all right, let's say if you're playing, you know, in a high-level stadium or a high-level surface or even an AstroTurf, because the surface is shorter, which means you're going to get more return energy off that bounce, which means the ball's going to come up a little quicker, and I'll end up being able to hit it a little further and a little smoother. If the surface is thick like this, chances are it's going to grab the ball, the energy of the ball. It's not going to come up quite as much, quite as fast, and it's going to affect the quality of my drop kick. So in something like this, I'd probably be more apt to hit a punt out of my hands just because I can guarantee the timing of it. All right, so those are a couple of issues as to why you might hit one or another. Another issue is how quickly do you want to get the ball down the field. There are going to be times when maybe a corner kick comes in or there's a play that develops in which you get the ball and there's a lot of the opposing players with between you and let's say 25, 30 yards of the field. All right, they've got the majority of their players in that range. Now you look up, the first thing you do is you get the ball, you look up and you see that you've got one of your forwards matched up one-on-one down the field with their center back. All right, a one-on-one situation like that is excellent. All right, those are good odds, especially if you have a forward that you know has got some speed on him. You might be looking to hit a drop kick because the drop kick is a flatter, it gets there faster, it's not going to give the opposing team enough time to get back, and you could probably create a one-on-one situation between your forward and their center back off a quick distribution like that. You look at goalkeepers who are very good at that. Female goalkeepers, you look at people like Hope Solo, who are very good strikers of the ball, of a drop kick that are flat. They get downfield quickly. They cover good distance. In the men's game, you can look at people like Pepe Reina, although Pepe doesn't really hit a drop kick. He hits a punt out of his hands, but again, it's low, it's flat, it's very direct, it gets there in good, quick time. A lot of the South American goalkeepers will utilize that side volley as well, where the ball doesn't tend to get as high. It tends to be much flatter, much more direct, and get downfield in a hurry. All right. The key to this, to hitting quality, number one, is to find a motion, all right, and a timing that's going to work for you, the individual, based on your body type. All right. We talked about this at the beginning. The taller you are, different shapes, different size goalkeepers are going to require different drop points. It's going to require you to hold. Some goalkeepers have to hold the ball further out. Some goalkeepers have to hold it further in. Some goalkeepers are going to have to drop it further out to their right or further out to their left. And you've got to find what's going to work for you based on how long your legs are, how long your arms are. And the other thing is you just got to practice it. All right? You've got to spend 2, 3, maybe 2.5 hours a week, 3 hours a week just hitting balls down the field, back and forth. All right? You've got to work through this. It's not something that's going to come quickly. It's something that's going to require a lot of patience on your part, a lot of practice, a lot of dedication. But over the course of time, if you stay true to just the basic kind of concepts, right, you should be okay. You should find yourself striking balls in field when you're, 13, 14, 15 years old, at least hitting balls in the field if you're standing at the top of your box. If you're older than that, being able to strike the ball 60, 70 yards, 3/4 of the field, putting it somewhere between the semicircle at midfield and the far penalty box. Okay, so that's basically the concepts that we're looking for. All right, once again, make sure that hips and shoulders are between 1 and 2. Make sure you're dropping the ball out of the opposite hand. Make sure you're approaching very controlled. It's not fast, it's not rushed. Make sure that you're not tossing the ball, that you're just dropping the ball. Make sure that the foot strike of the ball is right here in the center of the foot, okay? Right on the center of the laces. And when you're striking the ball, that you're turning your hips and shoulders, right, at the point of contact with the ball to be dead ahead. All right, so thank you for watching. Best of luck.